what does our future still hold? Helen Keller once whispered a truth that feels like a cold balm for the soul. Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence. As we stand at the precipice of the unknown, staring into the great abyss of time, we have to wonder, how does it all end? Where is the universe going? And what will be left of us when the lights finally go out? We cannot know for certain, but science has begun to paint a breathtaking, that haunting portrait of a hypothetical future. Today, we are going to travel to the very end of time. To do this, we will follow a specific rule. Our journey will accelerate. Every 5 seconds that pass in this story, time will move twice as fast. We are leaving the comfort of the present to witness the ultimate fate of everything. Welcome to a journey through the final horizon. Before we vanish into the deep, please subscribe to the channel. Let's keep the light of curiosity burning together. If you could stand at the very edge of existence and watch the lights of the universe go out one by one, would you look away? Or would you find a haunting beauty in the absolute silence? We live our lives under the arrogant assumption that the ground beneath our feet is eternal, yet we are merely passengers on a fragile speck of dust, performing a frantic terminal leap into the dark. Helen Keller once whispered that everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence, and today we are going to test the limits of that grace. We are embarking on a journey where time itself will lose its meaning, doubling in speed every 5 seconds, dragging us away from the only home we have ever known into a future so alien it defies the soul. Welcome to Simple Science. I am so glad you are here to witness the end with me. Before we vanish into the deep, please subscribe to the channel. Your support is the only thing that keeps this light burning against the encroaching void. We currently reside in the Anthropocene, a blink of geological time where humanity has played at being gods, yet the Holocene's gentle cradle has already been shattered. The stability we took for granted was an anomaly, a brief pause in a violent cosmic symphony. As our clock begins to race, we witness the Earth twitching in its final throes of familiarity. The magnetic poles begin to wander like a lost traveler before flipping entirely, a silent shift that leaves our technology screaming. The oceans, once our lifeblood, surge with a predatory energy, swallowing the monuments of our vanity. We realize with a heavy heart that the conditions for our survival are not a right, but a temporary loan that is now being called in. Everything is shifting. The Sahara blooms into a ghost of a jungle, while the constellations above distort into unrecognizable shapes, signaling that our time in the sun was always meant to be a fleeting, beautiful accident. As we leave the frantic shifting of our home planet behind, we find that the heavens themselves are not immune to the slow, agonizing march of mortality. The sun, the golden anchor of our existence, eventually reaches its limits, and the transformation is not a quiet fading, but a violent, terminal expansion. As its hydrogen runs dry, the core collapses under its own crushing weight, triggering a thermal surge that bloats the sun into a red giant, a colossal, crimson eye staring down at the charred remains of the inner solar system. Mercury and Venus are consumed by the fire, and Earth, once a vibrant cradle of life, is reduced to an airless, scorched cinder as the oceans evaporate into a final hissing mist. This is the tragic beauty of the starlight era. The very engine that gave us life becomes the force that incinerates our legacy. Eventually, the sun sheds its outer layers in a shimmering, ghost-like planetary nebula, leaving behind a white dwarf, a dense, cooling ember no larger than the Earth. These are the zombie stars, glowing not from fusion, but from the residual heat of a billion years of history. Across the cosmos, the great titans like Betelgeuse and Antares vanish in magnificent supernovae, scattering heavy elements into the dark, but there are no new stars rising to take their place. The universe is slowly becoming a vast graveyard of white dwarfs and neutron stars, drifting in a growing silence. Over trillions of years, even these embers lose their luster, fading into black dwarfs, frozen, crystalline spheres of carbon that represent the ultimate fate of all starlight. We are witnessing the transition into a ghost universe, where the lights are going out, and the age of warmth is giving way to an eternal, icy shadows. When the last embers of starlight finally cool into those dark, crystalline spheres, the universe slips into a profound and terrifying silence where gravity becomes the only surviving law. We have now entered the era of degeneracy, a trillion-year twilight where the lights have not just gone out, the very concept of warmth has been forgotten. The last red dwarfs, those stubborn, thrifty stars that clung to life for ages, have finally exhausted their fuel, leaving the cosmos as a cold, pitch-black basement. If any flicker of intelligence remains, it is huddled around the fading residual heat of a white dwarf or the spinning edge of a black hole, living at a pace so slow that a single thought might span 10 trillion years. To such beings, our entire human history would appear as nothing more than a momentary, microscopic spark in a primordial fog. Image of proton decay. But the darkness hides an even deeper betrayal: the decay of matter itself. We used to believe that the proton, the fundamental building block of everything we are, was immortal. But in this hollow future, even the atoms begin to unravel. This is the ultimate evaporation, the solid foundations of reality, the mountains that once stood, the bones of dead stars, and the iron spheres of frozen planets begin to dissolve into a thin, ghostly mist of subatomic particles. The expanding void, driven by a relentless dark energy, has pushed the galaxies so far apart that each one is a solitary prisoner in an infinite sea of nothingness. There are no more stars to see, no more planets to stand upon, and no more light to carry the secrets of the past. We are witnessing the slow, agonizing suicide of substance as the universe transforms from a theater of action into a vast, empty warehouse of forgotten ghosts. As the final titans of shadow vanish in a brilliant terminal flash of Hawking radiation, the universe surrenders its last bit of structure to the creeping absolute cold. We have reached the edge of the map, the eternal silence. In this final state, entropy, the measure of cosmic chaos, has reached its peak, and the heat death of the universe is complete. There is no longer any energy left to perform work, no stars to ignite, and no heat to stir the stagnant vacuum. Time itself, once a rushing river that defined our history, now slows to a halt, becoming a meaningless concept in a world where nothing ever happens, and it continues not to happen forever. It is the ultimate realization of Helen Keller's wisdom, a place of total darkness where the universe has finally found a terrible permanent peace. Yet, standing here at the end of all things, I cannot help but wonder if this silence is truly a tomb, or perhaps a womb for something new. Some scientists whisper of a multiverse, where our reality is just one bubble in a sprawling, infinite foam. They suggest that before the lights went out, a sufficiently advanced intelligence might have gathered the last remnants of energy to open a portal, a baby universe, acting as a lifeboat. Perhaps we are not the first to face this cold. Perhaps we are the children of a civilization that escaped a previous silence to plant the seeds of our own sun. This possibility transforms the end of our story from a tragedy into a cycle of defiant hope. We are the eyes through which the cosmos witnesses its own brief, glorious daylight. And even if we are destined for the dark, the fact that we were here at all to witness the beginning is a miracle that no amount of time can ever truly erase. As the final titans of shadow vanish in a brilliant terminal flash of Hawking radiation, the universe surrenders its last bit of structure to the creeping absolute cold. We have reached the edge of the map, the eternal silence. In this final state, entropy, the measure of cosmic chaos, has reached its peak, and the heat death of the universe is complete. There is no longer any energy left to perform work, no stars to ignite, and no heat to stir the stagnant vacuum. Time itself, once a rushing river that defined our history, now slows to a halt, becoming a meaningless concept in a world where nothing ever happens, and it continues not to happen forever. It is the ultimate realization of Helen Keller's wisdom, a place of total darkness where the universe has finally found a terrible permanent peace. Yet, standing here at the end of all things, I cannot help but wonder if this silence is truly a tomb or perhaps a womb for something new. Some scientists whisper of a multiverse, where our reality is just one bubble in a sprawling, infinite foam. They suggest that before the lights went out, a sufficiently advanced intelligence might have gathered the last remnants of energy to open a portal, a baby universe acting as a lifeboat. Perhaps we are not the first to face this cold. Perhaps we are the children of a civilization that escaped a previous silence to plant the seeds of our own sun. This possibility transforms the end of our story from a tragedy into a cycle of defiant hope. We are the eyes through which the cosmos witnesses its own brief, glorious daylight. And even if we are destined for the dark, the fact that we were here at all to witness the beginning is a miracle that no amount of time can ever truly erase. Standing at the very end of this cosmic timeline, looking back from a universe of absolute silence and shadow, we are forced to confront a reality that is both crushing and liberating. We have journeyed through the death of our planet, the incineration of our sun, the decay of the very atoms that compose our bodies, and the final evaporation of the mighty black holes. In the grand ledger of time, our entire human story, every empire raised, every war fought, and every love confessed, is nothing more than a microscopic flicker of light in a multi-trillion year night. We are the inhabitants of the universe's brief, sunlit youth, a tiny window of warmth between an explosive birth and a frozen eternity. Yet this journey reveals that we are not just passive observers. We are the consciousness of the cosmos. We are the only part of this vast machine that has gained the ability to look at the darkness and ask, why? Our existence is a defiant miracle, a temporary reprieve from the law of entropy that allows us to find meaning in a universe that, for the most part, is cold, empty, and indifferent. The most profound lesson we can draw from the end of time is that rarity creates value. We often spend our lives waiting for better times, as if the universe owes us an eternity. But when you realize that even the stars have an expiration date and that matter itself is a temporary arrangement, you understand that the present is the most expensive commodity in existence. Our smallness doesn't make us insignificant. It makes our presence an incredible statistical anomaly. The next time you feel a cool breeze or see a sunset, remember that you are witnessing a miracle of biology and physics that will one day be impossible. Don't let the beauty of the now be drowned out by the noise of trivial worries. When you are stressed by a minor conflict or a mistake at work, zoom out. Ask yourself, does this matter in the context of the Starlight Era? This perspective doesn't mean you stop caring, but it helps you shed the unnecessary weight of ego and anxiety. Just as the story speculates about civilizations creating baby universes to preserve life, we should strive to create cultural lifeboats, acts of kindness, knowledge, and art that make this brief window of time better for those who come after us. If our time is a flickering match in the dark, let it burn as brightly and as warmly as possible while it lasts.